So, what do you got in mind for an intro this week?
I have been struggling with that. I've
Yeah?
got a bit where like she's a pirate,
Mm-hmm.
but she also runs like a laundromat.
A laundromat?
Yeah, like she washes and dries. She like folds the.
Why?
Because she's Asian?
Oh God, no, because she's a woman.
Oh, okay. I mean, I thought of one where like she's just sailing for a long time. She's having trouble, like just other boats around her have no idea what's going on.
What do you mean?
Like she's just like 20 nautical miles with her blinker on, and nobody, are you going to turn or not?
Oh, because she's Asian.
No, because she's a woman.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Drew, you got anything?
Okay. So how about if we just start like, okay, we come in and maybe we have like some seagulls and some ocean sounds and stuff, like maybe like a sail flapping in the wind and then some footsteps. And then I come in, I'm like, oh, Hera.
No.
Fuck this.
Yeah, just cut it. No intro.
No intro.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Delete Everything Podcast. Our elegant Chinese pirate ship warring with the, I don't know, Portuguese naval vessel.
Yeah.
That is your brain. Your brain is the Portuguese naval vessel, and we are lobbing cannonballs of truth.
God damn, we
To
scratch on
set-
these sometimes, huh?
That bitch on fire with the obscure and deleted and forgotten and partial history that you have forgotten or maybe you never even knew about. So congratulations. I don't know. Stop, drop, and roll. I am Patrick Wall, and with me as always, my swashbuckling first mate and future husband.
Riley Bowen. Swashbuckling I'm into. First mate even. Cool. I don't know. I'm already married, bud. I will not get married a third time.
I said future. We'll go to common law state. You'll
Nope.
never even know.
No, never do it.
Well, before we get started, a couple things. You may notice that we always start the show asking for ratings and reviews and thanking people who have done so already. And that is because, and it's been a while since I've done my little rant, so, that's because we don't make money off of downloads. Unlike artists, like musical artists that get paid per download, podcasts aren't set up that way. I don't know why. I don't understand why. Nobody fucking consulted me when that decision was made. So did they consult you?
No, but
So, okay.
during the process of setting up that sort of transaction, I was not a professional comedian,
Mm-hmm. Well, so
which we are now.
at any rate, they didn't ask either one of us. And so I don't know. There's nothing we can do about it. I guess other than just say, look, the way that we make our money, the only way is based off of ads and sponsorships. And the only way we can do that is if we have engaged listenership, which means stuff like comments on Spotify episodes, ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, ratings and reviews on Audible, emails to us, Instagram engagement, Patreon members. I fucking promise you guys, if you knew me personally, you would know exactly how much I fucking hate having to ask anybody for anything. Legitimately, it does not come naturally to me.
He's a
it's
proud
just-
man.
I'm just not
Stalwart.
the guy. I'm just not the guy to be like, hey, can you do this for me? Or
No,
like,
Patrick
hey, can you
actually
lend
is
me
the
a
guy.
thing?
I usually ask him to borrow like $20.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, which I don't mind. I love helping my friends. I will just never ask for anything ever in return. I'm just not that dude. So, in terms of making this podcast a success, it literally takes a village, right? So we've got a decent sized village looking at our downloads and, dedicated listeners and all that stuff. So please do us a solid, hop on the app that you're on right now, currently listening to as you're listening to me beg you for shit. Leave a rating, leave us a comment. If you're on Spotify, leave us a rating and a review or if you're on Apple Podcasts. I think you just scroll to the bottom of our show page and you can do all that. Same with Audible. I think you just go on our show page and you can do all that. These are the things that put us over the top as far as the podcast business portion goes.
I would like for you to go on our Instagram, right? Find our logo, print out 1,000 copies of that, just on pieces of paper, go to the tallest building in your town, and cast them to the wind.
Not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea.
Unbleached paper if you can, because it's better for the environment.
Yes, that's true. Thank you for that.
And if you could actually also, if you could find some of that paper that has like flower seeds in it, it's made from like flowers.
Oh, yeah.
So you just fucking scatter that shit everywhere.
It turns into wildflowers.
Yeah, but make them like really like noxious, invasive flowers.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Also, if you are not following us on Instagram, you're missing out on like a lot of hilarious posts, and they're all related to our show topics. And the other thing we haven't been doing a very good job on is like promoting our Patreon.
Yeah. You want me to chime in on that? I agree.
Kinda.
I agree. Our Patreon is a lot of fun. It's one of the silliest goddamn like areas I've ever even heard content.
Guys, if you like this show, and you especially if you like the bits in particular where we go off on crazy, unhinged, cackling like madmen rants, you are missing out on some of the most hilarious shit on Patreon. We drop a bonus episode every week. It's a shorter episode, so you guys don't have to commit the same time to it. It's not a 2-hour episode. Think about if we did a 2-hour episode like normal, and then we distilled it.
Do we take out all the informational bits?
The dense. I was literally going to say we distill all the dense information out of it, and we do just like 45 minutes of weird, hilarious commentary on something that is probably not at all what the title of the episode suggests it is.
Almost specifically never is that.
Yeah, the episode is always titled what we sit down going, hey, we're going to talk about this. So it's what we're supposed to talk about. And it almost is never that. So
yeah, I did a listen through of our Patreon content just the other day. It's uncomfortable. It's some of the most unhinged shit I've ever heard anyone fucking say. I didn't even know that I was this weird.
The ravings of two lunatics.
It's insane. It's fucking insane. Like one of the episodes kind of starts off with, "This is how I found myself in a gay bathhouse in Atlanta at 3 a.m." Like it's fucking nuts.
Yeah. And what's weird is every time one of us has a story about a really weird thing, the other one's like, "Oh yeah. Wait, that happened to me too," or something.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Similar enough that let's talk about this. So. That is my rant, I think, and by the way, if you are one of the absolute fucking legends who has already done all the things that I just asked for, like from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much. I guess I'll also say that if you want to send us a message directly, you can do that at deleteeverythingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us at Delete Everything Podcast on Instagram, and find us on Patreon at patreon.com/deleteeverythingpodcast. Okay, so that was an earful. So I guess let's get into some piracy.
I've always wanted to get into piracy.
Yeah, me too. How are you doing, bud? You doing good? How was your week?
Everything
solid?
Week.
Everyone alive?
I don't know.
You don't know if everyone's alive?
I mean, we're coming to the end of winter. And you know what? No, everyone's not alive. I found out Michelle Trachtenberg died today, and it's really fucking bumming me out.
Yeah, today was the wrong day to say that.
That's sad. It's sad. I'm sad.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna cover it up with comedy and have a good time.
Too soon.
Honestly, it's like I was gonna say. It's the end of winter. Well, in Florida, like it's starting to get warmer, but like it's still like fucking wet and rainy, and it's just like a little cold. It's got everything has like a weird feel to it right now. I feel like, I've been real like doldrumsy at work and like not as productive as I want to be. And even like when I feel like I personally am like, I'm gonna have a good productive day. Like I told an anecdote on the Patreon that we just did that I fucking drove like a work truck 200 miles to like Tallahassee to pick up a particular thing. When I got there, the fucking engine was smoking. It's like, and everything's in the way.
Yeah. A lot of weirdness for sure. Same in my life. I don't, who the fuck knows, man? Who knows what's going on? At this point, maybe the people who think we're living in a simulation, that maybe there's something to it.
Well, I mean, that's guaranteed that that's the truth. There is a bit of a simulation going on.
Yeah.
I had this little debate with somebody recently because I'm a nihilist. It's a pretty easy thing to be. But it's very easily misconstrued as like, oh, well, you don't believe that anything is anything that matters. But I said,
all I think about is we are nihilists, Lebowski.
we believe in nothing,
We believe
Lebowski.
in nothing, Lebowski.
I'm an existential nihilist.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
But like, I had this little debate with somebody who was like, you probably believe that, like, that quote of like, we believe in nothing has been so like misconstrued that when people think they know what nihilists are, they're like, they'll like tap a table and be like, hey, that's there. That exists.
That's not
like,
even
that's not the
remotely what that is.
I was like, I just believe that like a lot of the stuff that we, do day to day is construct stuff.
Yeah.
Like humans have constructed
Nothing
this.
matters.
Like we don't live in the fucking woods.
Right.
We've constructed all this around us as like, like this societal thing. And they're like, what about time? Is that a construct? And I'm like, yeah, time is a construct. We like constructed the idea around it. And then this person said, well, time passes. Like it exists. And I was like, yeah.
It does.
It does. You're right.
Yeah.
It's there. It's I forgot what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. This was me asking how your week was, and here's where we ended up.
I'm tired. I'm drained.
All right. Well,
I'm horny.
Oh my.
I want to do drugs.
Oh,
That's just my inner monologue all the time, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm tired. I'm horny. I want to do drugs.
I'm very horny.
I don't.
Me so horny.
I feel like you said that too many times for it being just you and I in a row.
Honestly, I'm actually not at all horny. I'm just fucking sleepy.
Well, I'm sorry. Turns out I am horny.
I just wanted to throw in a me so horny.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. So, riddle me this, sucker. If I asked you to draw a picture for me of the most successful pirate in history, brief description, just tell me what you would draw.
It seems like a loaded question. Thomas Edison, maybe?
No, I didn't need you to be clever. I just...
Oh, you mean like a pirate, like an ocean pirate?
Yes. Just think of like a pirate, a guy who everybody fears, or a person who everybody fears, I guess.
I know a little bit about
a loaded question.
I interestingly know a little bit about history. So I'm thinking about Edward Teach, the Blackbeard the pirate, or Anne Bonny was really, really good one. Yeah. But I think I'd go like privateers. Like
Francis Drake.
Like Francis Drake. Francis Drake is a particularly good one.
Okay.
But I guess, you know who I want to really say? Sir Walter Raleigh.
Okay.
Yeah, Sir Walter Raleigh
He did it too.
Yeah, he was a privateer, but also founded like Virginia.
Well, safe to say you would not draw a Chinese woman in her mid-20s.
No, that's the realm of deviant art.
Yeah, well, you are shitty and sexist and racist, and I don't know, also bad at drawing. So, because the most sexful
pirate.
Freudian slip. We talked about Freud on Patreon. Now it's all oozing out of me
Who is the most sexful pirate?
The most successful pirate, certainly that we're aware of, or certainly ranking among the top to like just do it to it in and out of the game, and just you'll get it. You'll hear all about her when we get into this. So, in the year 1775,
almost a good year.
What made it not a good year?
Is 1 year later, and it's the freedom year.
That's just the year that we said we're free.
Exactly. It's a construct, but we constructed it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but everybody thinks that's when we won independence, when it's just when we declared independence.
You are independent the minute that you say that you're independent.
I learned that. I learned that from Destiny's Child.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta, once you say it, be like, listen, I'm my own fucking country here, okay? And then anybody else that says, no, you're not, they're full of shit because you just gotta live your own life.
Uh-huh.
Girl, put your records on.
Just go ahead and let your hair down.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1775, a baby girl named Qing Shi was born in Guangdong province of China. We have talked about Guangdong before.
Hold on. Let me think of this.
We haven't talked a whole lot about China.
No, really. It's scary to us to do China. I feel like.
Is it? I'm
I
not
mean,
scared.
I'm not scared. Don't get me wrong, but it is hard not to do like an accent when you say some of these words.
Yes.
It's tough. And as comedians, it's extremely low-hanging fruit.
Super duper.
It's super, super low-hanging fruit. And also it like is inherently racist. And it's really hard to like fight that. Right? So it's a little intimidating. It tough fucking is. Guangdong. I can't recall.
20,000 plus Chinese workers from Guangdong to build
The Western expansion.
the
Okay,
Transcontinental Railway. Yeah, remember that was the.
Yep.
I mean, so we're a little bit before that time. That we're in the late 1700s. That was all occurring in the almost 100 years later, about 90 years later. But that was where that southern province there in the South China Sea that was having all kinds of issues and turmoil and opium war shit, and all the people were trying to get the fuck over here and get some work.
So Guangdong not doing so hot with the economy. It sounds like.
Well, right now I think it's mostly doing okay.
Well, I guess by the 1776 Western expansions, not slowed, but like we're not doing as actively.
1776. We haven't even started yet.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, that's what I meant.
1860s was when we started doing the Transcontinental Railroad.
Okay, all right.
And that was put off for a while because of the Revolutionary War. I think, if I remember correctly, 1869 was when they drove the final spike there in Promontory Summit.
There's a famous Iggy Pop and the Stooges song called 1869 Okay from their debut album, self-titled.
1869 Okay.
1869 Okay.
What's the next line?
Make it to the USA.
Okay.
It wasn't doing so
Transcontinental Railway.
Transcontinental Railway.
Okay, so I just wanted to comment on the whole Guangdong thing, vis-a-vis the railway, Transcontinental Railway, because sometimes the world is small. Sometimes it's a small world, after all. So
hold on a second.
Yes.
I feel like we're not being silly enough.
No.
I gotta get some sillies out real quick. I want to make some jokes. Just throw out a quick joke. Quick one.
Would you like to make a joke of Guangdong, China?
No, not even one of those. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The Viper.
The Viper who?
The Vindo Viper. I've come to wash and vibe the windows. All right, let's go.
Jesus.
Let's do it. Get your sillies out.
My sillies were already out.
Just do it.
What do you want? I don't know what you want from me.
I want silly.
So, Qing Shi is born in Guangdong in 1775. Oh, I also want to sort of reiterate what you just said. I'm not even going to try to pronounce a lot of these names accurately because after looking a lot of them up and listening to myself try to nail the pronunciation, I was like, I know how much we yuck it up on this podcast, and I know abso-fucking-lutely zero Chinese, so why am I going to try and nail like names and towns and like with a perfect Chinese accent? That's going to come across as...
That's going to be terrible.
That's gonna
like I said, it's a little intimidating.
It's hard.
I prefer to say everything like I'm the aggravated lead character of an anime. That'll just cover it. Like she was born in Guangdong province. Yeah. Like that's
I just don't want me trying to, or it's not even a thing now. When I was deciding on whether or not to make this decision, or when I was deciding what I wanted to do moving forward with the names and all that stuff, I was like, okay, there's a possibility that me trying to pronounce these right comes across as me making like some fucking, like you said, low-hanging fruit, shitty Asian jokes. And
dude, we've fought this particular demon many times on this show.
When in fact, I'm just trying to like add a little fucking authenticity to this goddamn clown show. But
listen, we are never going to punch down. We specifically respect the people, the good people at least, that we're talking about.
Right.
If there are cultural differences that we stumble on a little bit, our apologies.
Yes.
And again, we're sorry if we slip up on the accent a little bit.
Like I said, I'm going to pronounce
I'm saying I am sorry, not me so sorry.
Oh my God. Okie dokie. I just had to breathe that one out. Just deep breath in, deep breath out.
I'm serious. I'm fucking serious.
So I'm going to pronounce all these words and all these things that like I said, with my absolute net zero fucking Chinese that
I'm going to pronounce them like I'm reading an ingredient off the back of a pack of something.
Monoglutamate
rhinoplastic returbo. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not going to attempt Chinese or any of its various dialects for fear that you guys think that I'm being...
Mandarin. He means Mandarin.
What? Cantonese.
Cantonese.
Why not?
Any Chinese dialects.
Mushu.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know. Is that a language? It could be. I don't know.
I don't know. I should have said it. I shouldn't have said it. God damn it.
Okay, perfectly candid. We don't really know shit about China.
I tried to stop it on the way out. I tried to stop it, but it wouldn't.
So this is one of the reasons that we've stuck so strongly to American history.
Actually, is Sichuan an area with a dialect? And that is a genuine question.
I believe so.
It is, right?
I believe so.
There's Cantonese, there's Mandarin, there's Sichuan, and there's more, I know. There's a lot.
One of the reasons we've stuck so strongly to American history throughout this is because we know we've got to branch out and do other countries. It's hard to do.
But we're big
because
dummies.
we're stupider than fuck when it comes to shit. Like we just but we want to learn, we want to know, and that's what we're doing this, because through conversation and context, we can get a broader understanding of the world at large. Just do it, man.
All right, I'm going to do it. So, Qingxi, like I said, Guangdong, 1775. We don't know much about Qingxi's childhood aside from that she was probably born poor. By the time we really know anything about her, she's 25 years old and working on a floating brothel in the South China Sea.
Which is kind of cool.
And its various waterways, yes.
But that would be like, so I know a little bit about like floating towns and cities in like Micronesia and like the Sea of Japan and stuff like that.
Right.
So that would be like for sailors and fishermen and like stuff like anybody
like Vietnam
living,
still has it. Yeah.
Like a lot of people just lived on the water.
Yeah.
And
Vietnam still has floating cities. I think Philippines even. Yeah, that's
so a floating brothel would essentially be like just a ship.
I think it's just a boat that sailors can pull up to and then
pull out of.
Somebody, hopefully. We don't know exactly what her role was there. My guess.
They drop the anchor, they raise the anchor, they drop the anchor, they raise the anchor.
My guess is that she was just a prostitute on a boat. I mean, she's a 25-year-old woman, and it's the year fucking 1800 at this point. So chances are she's been here since she was much younger.
No.
Let's go best worst case scenario and say 16, 17 years old.
Young.
Best worst case scenario.
Yeah. That's best worst,
for the time. Yeah. Let's say she got there 16, 17 years old. She's now 25. She knows the ropes, right? So
that's good seafaring talk.
Good. Yeah, well, you gotta pull
I
up.
almost
You
said
need to know
seaman
like
talk.
a good clove hitch. You know, you always need a bowline. There's a lot of.
She's been on a boat a long time. She knows the ropes. She knows the seaman.
Boy, oh boy.
See, this is such a dangerous topic that we're afraid to even make jokes.
I know. Just deep breath in, deep breath out.
Listen,
keep
this is delete
along.
everything. Peeny Vagini, come. Don't forget who you are, Patrick.
Don't forget where you came from, fucker. So, regardless of what she's doing and or selling on this floating brothel, I saw things where it was like, she worked on a flower boat. And I'm like, the fuck is a flower boat?
Yeah.
In the South China Sea.
I'm sure that all of the fishermen and the fucking, the pirates in the South China Sea in the 1800s were just like, oh, flowers, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, great. You're making a great living
it's
on
my
a
wife's
fucking
birthday.
flower
Thank God
boat.
you came by.
I mean, I live in America now on the water, and I've never seen a fucking flower boat.
Right. So it is said that she displayed a pretty savvy amount of business acumen whilst on said floating brothel, right?
Business acumen.
Business acumen. So hear me out, okay? We get a decommissioned barge, right?
Dick commissioned barge.
We take it, stupid. We take it 12 miles offshore, right? 12 miles, technically international waters. on this barge, 12 miles offshore, we build out a restaurant, we build a casino, a big boat dock so boats can pull up to it, build some private rooms. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
We make a killing.
Yeah, you got a casino, you got a restaurant, you got some fuck rooms.
12 miles offshore.
Yeah, there's no oversight there. All you got to deal with is pirates.
And selling our supple little bodies.
Yeah. And we've all been there.
Lots of Vaseline on the orifices.
I think it's just whatever oils be around. You got to sail 12 miles to get to fucking land. So like,
if the cops show up, we'll tell them it's a flower boat. Just keep lots of flowers around.
The cops show up, be like, hey, we get out of here. This is international waters, jerks. The cops show up, they're probably there for the prostitutes and the gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's probably like international law. I mean, because like you can be in international waters and murder someone. If you get caught, you can't just like film a video of you in international waters popping 8 people in the fucking dome piece.
It's complicated.
And kicking them off the fucking... No, there's international law.
There's maritime law.
Yeah, maritime
law also applies to space.
That doesn't make sense, but okay.
Well, why wouldn't it make space?
Why would it make space?
Hooba-zooby. Hooba-zooby, gooba-doo. No, like, why wouldn't it make sense? Because what your maritime law is specifically for any space not controlled by another country in between controlled spaces.
Is that the actual definition of maritime?
Well, maritime would be like on the sea. That's why it's called that.
Okay.
So then for outer space, because nobody ever thought they'd go to fucking space for most of human history. Like,
you got to make up a new word.
It was never an issue. And then once people started going to space, they're like, fuck, what are we going to do?
We got to make up because listen, there's no way that everything from maritime law transfers seamlessly over to space law. We got to make up a new word.
It's not far because
make up a new word.
Well, think
right
about,
now. You make up a new word. Scloobabops. Scooby-Doo.
What?
Scooby-Trop.
Okay, it's space law. That's easy. But I'm just saying that.
Well, then why don't we call maritime law sea law?
It is called sea law.
Ocean law.
It's also called ocean law.
Bay law.
The Sept of Baylor.
The Sept of Baylor.
So, no, listen. Okay, you're saying maritime as though like the whole fucking planet calls it maritime. You think that in another country they wouldn't just be like, yeah, ocean law? It's just like it's just that's what it is. It's use whatever words you want. I'm saying the law of the ocean. The unwritten rule of the sea. But it actually applies to cannibalism. But like the fucking the law of the ocean applies to outer space because outer space is a travelable void with large masses of land, and when you land on those masses of land, you can put a fucking flag there and make it like yours, essentially. It's the same shit.
I don't like it. So, Zheng, right? She is in this brothel, on this boat. That is a brothel. I think probably her acumen was talking to other girls and being like, do you stick a finger in his butt? No? Do you?
What'd you charge for that? What'd you charge for the butt finger?
What do you do? Do you do like a 2-handed swizzle during the BJ? Do you do that? No? How about, do you do the wheelbarrow? The rowboat? The Jiminy Cricket? What are you doing? We're making the same. Do you do the Russian nesting doll? We're making the same money, and I'm doing all this extra shit. Oh God, I'm charging extra. No, more likely she is. She was smart enough to talk to some of her wealthy, more influential clients, and she would talk those dudes into telling her important secrets because there is literally no idiocy on earth like a horny man with a boner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Literally, women, if you don't even know, if you don't know at this point, take fucking note. You can make a horny man with a boner do anything. Anything.
That's not true.
If the agreement is that you're going to touch that boner.
I mean, a lot of stuff, I'll say. I mean, listen, there is a rationale attached to.
I mean, there are certain things, yeah, like kill your parents. I'd be like, no, get someone else.
Not until after you touch the boner. I'm not stupid. You're gonna pull that fucking rug out from under me as soon as they're dead. No way.
Yeah, you could make men do most. A horny man with a boner, most things you got totally in your wheelhouse. Anywho, she would get information in the form of, like, shh, don't tell anyone this sort of snippets, right? These little secrets that these rich, wealthy motherfuckers would come in. And then if a business rival or a government official or someone else of consequence would come through, she would sell those secrets and,
They're There you go.
You willing to drop a few bucks to know what, this diplomat or
solid
this
business.
whatever,
Maybe a little bit risky depending on what you're selling there, but like
honestly, history is fucking riddled with powerful men who were brought fucking down by pillow talk.
Oh yeah. That's like one of the big things.
Literally, it's
well, also, I mean, China, especially, like, if you look at The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Yep.
Right? Which is even like fucking like 1,000 years before this shit or some
Mm-hmm.
shit. Sun Tzu says he talks about the benefits of spies and like concubine spies and shit like that you like in bringing down empires. He specifically references like if you've got courtesans, use them as spies.
Absolutely.
If you have guests, use your courtesans, have them
Let 'em
sleep
fuck
with your
your
guests
enemy.
and talk to them and get your information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like there's a whole chapter of The Art of War that's just spy shit like that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I said, look at history.
Also, I mean,
chock full.
Talk about China. Listen, my big China experience is going to be movies. Sorry to tell the world, but essentially every fucking movie set in China has some shit like that.
Well, yeah.
There's some like court secrets being bandied about or, spying or subterfuge or something. It's a very political culture.
Yeah, I too have never experienced China, so I'm speaking just off of
I've watched a lot of movies, though. So many movies.
Well,
guys.
yeah.
Educational videos, I call them.
So at some point here, Jingxi attracts the attention of a South China Sea pirate named Zheng Yi, right? Zheng Yi is his name. Big fan of the Portuguese grip HJ, that guy.
He liked a secondary reverse dismount.
Did you say secondary reverse dismount?
Yeah.
Nice. So
it's categorized under like section 1, part V.
So who is Zheng Yi? Because I guess that most people, if not everyone listening to this episode, doesn't know who Zheng Yi is.
I'd assume that most listeners to our stupid fucking history podcast don't know who this particular
like if I said
Chinese character
Blackbeard
from the 1800s
or
is.
Francis Drake or one of the.
I'd be willing to bet that most of the people listening don't know who Francis Drake is either.
No?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we got to put him on the show.
Francis Drake?
Yeah,
you can do that.
have
Why
him
not?
come in as a guest.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing
the bones of Francis Drake.
We just play the bone sound effects. Just like we just got him in a chair there.
Drop these anywhere. So I'm going to tell you about Zheng Yi because why the fuck not?
You ask him how he's doing. He says, "Oh, I feel so alone. I feel like I ended up a big old, yeah, something."
Yeah, I can't think of a good metaphor. Sorry, guys. I just feel so alone. At this particular time, Zheng Yi is pretty notorious in the South China Sea as a pirate, privateer. He's been knocking about for a while. Even more notorious is his cousin Zheng Shi. So we got Zheng Yi and Zheng Shi. I'm sorry, so many of these names are so similar, and I don't know how to make them different. So apologies in advance.
I think it's perfectly clear. I'm not going to get confused at all.
Right. Okay. So Zheng Shi, his cousin, is a little bit more infamous in this area, right? These guys, their fathers are brothers, right? And their fathers were sea bandits and their grandfathers that literally they're like keeping the tradition alive. Their family's piracy roots trace back to the Ming Dynasty, which is like mid 1300s to mid 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
So they've just like, my grandfather was a pirate and my great grandfather and
pirating
his father was a pirate.
Since been pirating.
Yeah. The pirate runs deep in me, boy. So, yeah, they've got some skin in the game, right? They got family traditions, probably like,
Depending on what kind of pirates, they might actually have skin in the game.
Yeah, right. Nobody wants to be at the family gatherings and you got your uncle and your dad and your grandpa and everybody's throwing down on pirate stories and you're like, I haven't been offshore. Yeah, you
got some fishermen off the coast.
So, yeah, you got to get out there and make something of yourself, I guess. So at this time, which we're still talking right around 1800, right?
Mm.
Zheng Yi and his cousin, Zheng Shi, are fighting as privateers for the Tay Son dynasty of Vietnam. At this point, there isn't that, like, that's all sort of, there aren't the countries that we know them as today don't exist the way we know them today. So China and Vietnam share a border. And so the Taeson dynasty is fighting this sort of dynastic civil war, and Zheng Yi and his cousin are privateers for the Taeson dynasty, right? At this time, raiding and piracy in the South China Sea is sort of all over the place. Basically, anybody who has a boat can gather some guys, fuck shit up whenever, wherever, however. And, you know, the only people trying to fight back is like this small provincial government of Guangdong. There's not really like, it's sort of wild, wild west.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Wiki Wild West.
What was that?
It's Wiki Wild West was the theme song to the movie Wild Wild West
With Will Smith?
Yeah,
Is that a Will Smith song?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Wiki Wild, and it's done to it's Stevie Wonder song. I wish them days or those days. Like, I wish those days would come back no more.
Man.
Except it's to the Wild Wild West. Wiki Wild.
Does he? Is there a record scratch, or does he actually say wiki?
He says Wiki Wild.
Oh no.
Wiki Wild West.
Oh, William.
It's a great song.
Nope. I don't believe you.
Wild Wild West.
I do not believe you.
Wild Wild West.
All right. Well, fuck. Took all the wind out of my sails.
Hey.
Hey. So where are we? So, okay. So, like I said, it's pretty fucking lawless. I'm not saying Wild West again. It's a lawless area, and Zheng Yi is kind of out there getting his thing done, but it's, you know, shit's crazy, right? So, like I said, Zheng Yi meets Qing Shi, right?
Yeah, right. Like,
What
I
are
hear you.
doing? I know. I need you.
You know what you get when you get my undivided attention? Wiki Wild West. Because every fucking thing you say is going to be an outlet for me to just be like, "Bah!"
Okay. So Zheng Yi meets Qing Shi, and whether he's like obsessed with making her his wife out of love or connections that she's made from other dudes, other famous or not famous, powerful
Maybe he met
figures in
her
the area.
and it was just like, this is possibly the most dangerous woman I've ever seen in my life.
Maybe.
I'm fucking in love.
All of that is subject to a pretty decent amount of debate. Regardless of the reasons, they get married in 1801, and she becomes known as Zheng Yi Sao, which means literally wife of Zheng Yi, right? And that's how we're going to refer to her from here on out. I'm not going to call her Qing Shi anymore. She's just Zheng Yi Sao from here on out. Cool?
Yeah, cool. Whatever. I don't speak Chinese, so like whatever.
Well, like I said, there are a lot of Chinese names in this story, and it's easy to lose track of who is who. So
it's good to have two characters that are the same name,
have the same name,
but one
except
of
for
them
one,
is Sao.
which means wife of.
Right.
So yeah, Zheng Yi and Zheng Yi Sao. She is around 25. He is around 35. By the way, there's also an adopted son in the mix. About 3 years before their marriage, Zheng Yi is doing his pirate thing, and he abducts a 15-year-old kid. He, quote unquote, pressures the kid to become a quote unquote unpaid intern on the boat, by which I mean he probably told this kid, whose name is Zhang Bao, by the way, that he could do whatever fucking menial labor he had on his ship, or I'll fucking kill you. Probably is what happened.
So what we're describing here, that's Wesley from The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Every night he'd be like, "Good night." Whatever. Chang Bao. Most likely kill you in the morning.
So yeah, this is slavery, effectively.
Indentured servitude.
I don't know that there was any plan to pay him. He does clearly end up liking the kid because he informally adopts him as his son. And before long,
God, the whole fucking, I swear to God, this is my complete lack of education in China and everything other than movies. Like, has put a soundtrack in my head. There's a definite like sweeping like stoicism attached to the pirates and his like fucking enforced ward. You know, like it's just like I'm just picturing that whole sequence from fucking Flying People, Hidden Wires. Is that movie?
Crouching Tiger, Hidden
Crouching
Dragon.
Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The whole sequence where they're in the desert and everything's like longing looks and fucking riding horses through sand and shit. And that's just like that's the sequence that applied itself to this kid like fucking scrubbing decks and like the pirate looking at him like, yes.
Oh my god. Well, like I said, he ends up, I guess, liking the kid because he adopts him as his son. And before long, Zheng Bao is second in command of his fleet, right?
Dang.
Right?
Talk about starting from the bottom.
I know. So by the time Zheng Yi is proposing to the future Mrs. Zheng Yi Sao, Zheng Bao, who's the adopted son, is pretty well in the mix pirate-wise, right?
Uh-huh.
Zheng Yi Sao makes an interesting proposition in response to Zheng Yi's marriage proposition. She proposes.
Yeah.
Propofol. She makes sure he's not going to be bold. She says, in effect, I'll marry you and we can formally adopt Zheng Bao as our son and make him your heir, but I want 50% of your business and to be your heir should you die before I do, right?
Uh-huh.
Your heir unofficial, right? Because we're talking 1800s China, something like that. I mean, you're already operating outside the law for the most part. You're a fucking pirate. They're not going to be like, okay, pirate lady, you were his wife, so you get it because
right, yeah,
it'll pass to your son when you die.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not like the Khaleesi gets everything that the Dothraki Khalasar has,
Right.
After their Khal dies. The difference. They get sent back to Doth Kalash to sit in the commune of widows.
I don't think that's the name of the town, is it?
Doth. The place with the
place with the widows.
The widows.
And then all the other calls fight over that area. That territory.
Exactly. You don't just get shit.
Dosh
Khaleen.
Yeah,
That's
you were
it.
close. So, yeah, like I said, she says, I want to go into this business. If we're going to get married, I want to be in the business with you, right? 50-50. 50-50, homie. Takes two.
50-50.
And by the way, Zheng Yi says he's cool with that arrangement, and they actually sign a contract saying as much, right? Mr. and Mrs. Zheng Yi and their bouncing 18-year-old baby boy are now doing their thing on their private vessel with a moderate-sized fleet under the control of Zheng Yi.
Well, shit.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Now, like I said, there's a whole dynastic civil war going on in the south of Vietnam at this time, and Zhang Shi ends up getting captured by the side that ultimately wins this war, and Zhang Shi is executed. So
damn.
That's a name you don't have to remember anymore.
That was the first pirate. Then there's the brother.
Yeah.
Or
His
cousin, and then he got the son, and then also, he killed the first pirate.
Zhang Yi was the first pirate. We're going to be talking about him through a lot of this episode.
Yeah.
Zhang Shi was the cousin who was more notorious at the time. He was kind of a step above Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi pretty much just had his own fleet, but sailed under Zhang
That's what I'm talking about.
ship.
Zheng Yi marries Zheng Yi Sao.
Yeah.
Zhang Shi was
captured,
he was
executed.
the head, but he's now been lopped.
Captured and lopped.
And then Bao,
Zheng Bao.
Zheng Bao
Zheng Bao
is
is the adopted son.
The adopted son. Okay.
Correct. So pretty much all of Zhang Shi's fleet now controlled by his son, which incidentally also a captured young boy turned orphan son.
It seems to be a theme in piracy. Lots of pirates have just I don't know, and they don't have their own kids, and if they do, they don't care about them.
Right? No shit. So he comes to Zheng Yi for instructions, right? His dad just got...
Not going to make any contextual comments about sailors and young boys.
Please don't. Hey, you know what? Do.
I mean, listen,
Have fun.
Truly, I don't know enough about Chinese culture to say whether or not that would be something that gets thrown around. I know that in the Caribbean, it would be super, super common for European pirates to bugger young boys. That'd be a very common thing.
I don't think there's any culture that didn't exist.
I don't think there's any culture
still
that
exists.
But I don't know.
Sadly, but
it would be
what it is.
It's not my place to make that supposition. I think that it tracks.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, women hold a different place in culture in China than they do in Western civilization. So I just don't know enough about that.
I don't either.
No.
I really don't know
Because one of the things about like the seafaring life and especially the British naval fleet's penchant for buggery, which is butt fucking. If you don't know what buggery,
buggery is
you don't know about buggery, you don't know nothing.
Buggery is giving it or taking
it in the butt. The British are all about that shit in all of their like all male industries, and like the British
Think about
Navy.
that next time you hear bugger off.
Bugger off. It means go fuck yourself in the ass.
Yeah.
So like naval fleets that were like predominantly male, I mean, dudes get horny on them boats and they just start putting it in butts and mouths and hands.
And noses, if you listen to our Patreon episode.
Huh? Drew just made like a... yeah. Drew made a pee and peenie butt genie. Peenie butt genie in this one.
Butt genie. Is that
The
when you
genie,
rub the hiney the right way and it
genie,
comes out and gives you wishes?
If you want to put your pee up in my butt G. I'm a genie in a butthole.
So, like I said, Zheng Shi's son comes to Zheng Yi for instructions after his father is executed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taeson dynasty is done. They are basically at this point, these guys have nothing to do.
Right.
So they're like, what's going on? Dad's dead. I got all these fucking boats, whatever's left. What do I do, uncle? Right? It's at this point, we think, of course, this is a long time ago, so we don't know any of this. And just like last week, a lot of this information was just so heavily regurgitated. There's very little source information. I also found out in China, everybody knows Zhang Bao.
Oh yeah,
who's the son, and you'll see why shortly. Nobody knows.
He in like a dynasty warriors or something.
Nobody knows Zheng Yisao.
Really, that's interesting.
In the U.S., people have heard of Zheng Yisao. Nobody's heard of Zhang Bao.
That's easy. It's because we're a nation of toothless cucks that idolize women above all else.
I feel like the first part of the sentence was somewhat accurate. The second part of the sentence, not so much.
I don't know. Just there was what I hear on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Well, from who?
Joe Rogan mostly.
Okay, so like I said, it's around this time that we think that Zheng Yisao
starting the podcast wars,
coming
for Rogan hot.
Yeah, I'm sure
he can't take this pressure.
I'm sure he's worried.
I told you we need to start some beef. We gotta start some beef.
Start some beef.
Let's gotta get the numbers ticking up. We need beef.
We're coming for you, Rogan. Go for the top. He's only the most listened to person in the history of the world.
I don't know why you saying that we need to start beef made me really want some fucking fajitas.
Get some fajitas.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. No.
Fuck this. Let's go get fajitas. Fuck you, Joe Rogan. We're out. Like I said, at this point is when we think that Zheng Yisao comes up with a pretty solid idea and relays it to her husband. She goes to him. She says, babe, or baby boo, or Pookie baby bear.
Or
Boo
husband.
bear. No.
Husband, I have thought.
Pookie nugget. She's like, that's the one. She's like, Pookie nugget.
Maybe she's like, hey, slut. Because he likes that kind of thing.
Hey, you limp dick cuck, come over here. She says, you've got a pretty big fleet, right? Zheng Shi's fleet is also pretty big. Taeson dynasty is done. And we've got all these other pirates running around with smaller fleets, especially compared to yours now that you've sort of in this weird like merger with your cousin's fleet, right? So why don't we just keep consolidating power in the South China Sea and we can just be in charge of all the fucking pirates? You've already got staff you can trust between you, me, our son, Zhang Bao, your adopted nephew. Song was the guy who Zheng Shi adopted. Your biological nephew, Zhang Boyang. So let's quit fucking fighting this war that's already over and let's keep pirating the fucking southern coast of the Qing government, which we were already doing before and during the war anyway, and we can just be Richard and fuck.
Yeah, like you've essentially got as many ships as a government would have anyway.
Oh,
even
boy,
more so, you know?
Oh boy, yes. So, not really seeing a downside here, Zheng Yi agrees, and over the next 3 years, they go to town in the South China Sea, right? Lots of pirates fighting each other, lots of people dying. Ultimately, Zheng Yi and his fleet won battle after battle, and Zheng Yusao convinced pirates that there was a master plan here if they joined up. If they became, we're going to put this confederation together. And yeah, we just sunk half your fucking fleet and killed 80% of your guys, but we can make more boats. We can get more guys. You being, a good commander or a good captain or whatever the case may be, if you just listen to the plan, promise you're going to be all right. Right. And she's very adept at convincing people. I don't know why a beautiful former prostitute. How would she know how to convince men who have been out at sea for most of their lives to do what she wants?
I don't know. There's a chance. I mean, it's not like just like flashing a tit's gonna like convince all these guys. Like,
I don't even know that it's that much. I think it's just like just a little rubber body along the side. Like, come on, a little like nuzzle.
That's fair. Or
eye bat.
maybe she just like cut someone's throat in front of them.
That would be cool too.
And she's like, "Do as I fucking say."
Honestly, both ways, cool. Like,
yeah, it's frustrating that we
figure out.
It's frustrating that we don't have the context for that. Was she fearsome beyond belief, or was she charming beyond belief?
Both.
Yeah.
We've got context for kind of both in little bits. One of the videos that I watched was a guy talking about sort of the legend of Zheng Yusao, right? And how if you go back to the actual early 1800s, in terms of mentions of her specifically in like official documents, in writings from the time, how I think from the time there were, if I remember correctly, 80-something mentions, again, officially in nonfiction writings from the time and government documents and things like that. 80-something mentions of Zhang Bao, which I know we haven't really gotten into him yet. We will. And like 20-something mentions of Zheng Yusao, right?
Right.
And from that point, it kind of, there were a couple of like articles written. God damn it. There was one guy who sort of did like stories in like the 1920s, like detective private dick genre.
Like noirs, like
like kind of like a crime. Yeah. Like,
but like
a
it's set in like Chinese pirate time?
Well, he did one that was inspired by what he found written about Zheng Yusao.
When was this writer active?
In the 20s.
In the 20s?
In the 1920s. So, like 100 years after she wasn't pirating anymore, this gentleman was talking about these interpretations and like sort of what was taken and sort of became legend by way of being, using extra artistic license and just trying to like fantasize and memorialize or sort of put this mystique
historical
around
fiction,
and so really what he was saying is there's not any way to know much more than she existed. She was important enough that the Chinese government at the time was worried about her and wrote about her and said, "Fuck this bitch," and
this goddamn pirate bitch. Fuck. Official documents. Just
official documents. That's notarized. There's a stamp and everything.
Yeah, like the subject line is just the word "fuck" in Chinese. It's like whatever the Chinese signature like is for "fuck," just fucking in big ass letters.
But
goddamn pirate bitch.
But I mean, yeah, aside from that, we don't know a whole lot that we can absolutely say with certainty. So a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about, like, I fucking hate to say it, but a lot of it is just speculation based on the few facts that we know. And I mean, there is a way to go from like, okay, this happened to this. So like one of the examples that this gentleman uses, right, is that one of the initial stories about Zheng Yusao was that Zheng Yi went to wherever she was working. I don't even think the brothel story was a thing at the time. Went to where she was
flower boat.
working on the flower boat.
Or more like deflower boat, you know what I'm talking about?
and took her captive and brought him on his ship and said, "You're coming, you're going to marry me." At which point she struck him in the face and sort of proposed this, "Fine, I'll marry you, but you're giving me half." And he was like,
Damn, that's Shakespearean.
and he was like, "It's a great story, but knowing Chinese culture in 1800
Seems
and like
fucking unlikely.
the whole thing just doesn't make sense."
Also, seems a lot like if that had happened, he would have killed her with a sword.
right, exactly. So it's great for sort of like one of these authors that came and found these facts and then wrote this whole like, I don't want to call it editorialized, but this fantastical version of her based around some facts. But if you look at it sort of through the scope of like, well, what's the fucking likelihood that that actually happened?
Mhm.
It's
I mean,
slim.
that's
It's
what we
slim.
do here on Delete Everything podcast.
Right, is look at it through that lens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's where, over time, some other historians, like I'm not the one who came up with this whole, like, I'll marry you, but give me 50%.
Right.
Do this whole document and
Well, it's a
formally adopt Zheng
it's
Bao
a
and all that.
very, very like classic story in a lot of ways, like ancient Greece. You got the story of like Persephone and Hades and shit. Like there's a lot of the like, I don't want to marry you, but I'll do it for like,
right,
there's a deal we can strike.
Right. And honestly, if I had to lean toward one of the theories, I would lean toward, she was probably young and pretty, but she was also probably smart enough and knew enough secrets that Zhang Yi was like, you know what? Like all it takes is for her to know one secret about one guy that he is currently at war with. And that's good enough to be like, come talk to me. Like, tell me
Come to
what
my
else
window.
you know.
Yeah.
Tell me what else you know. And if she's got enough of those, you are good at this. Like, let's work out a deal here. And then before you know it, it's more a marriage of maybe convenience than like just outright love. But I mean,
the way I look at stuff like that is very like, we're talking about pirates and outlaws and that kind of shit. One thing that piracy comes with is sexual assault, pretty across the board.
Oh, big time.
Like all across the human history forever.
Yeah.
So it seems likely to me that there's an involvement with the pirate that could have been like prostitution based, could have just been he took her, but through time.
yeah.
In all situations, familiarity will breed this sort of like, what am I looking for? Like
Just softening the
like
blow a little
exactly.
bit.
So like if you like, I took you as a fucking slave and kept you on my ship.
Yeah.
I don't 6 weeks, 8 weeks down the line,
Then it's a prostitute, and then before you know it, it's a wife.
Yeah,
and
before
then
you
before you know it, they fell in love as children.
Yeah, or some shit like that. Yeah,
It's these things sort of.
Yeah, but then also, I mean, just on the boat, it could have come like this is a very harsh interaction to start with, softens over time, maybe, and she
Could be.
works her way out into the trust and then the affections of a more powerful pirate.
Could be had a whole fucking harem on his fleet,
which would be, I mean, it's a fucking pirate boat. that's kind of the thing with pirates. They're bad pirate.
They're bad people. They're bad people, but this is a cool story. And so I when I was writing these notes, I was kind of like, I can't wait to see, because I know that Riley and I are sort of lockstep on like this weird fascination and adulation of adulation. Yeah, adulation of pirates is weird because they were bad people.
I don't think it's
by and large
super weird. If you look at like most of mankind's stories of outlaws and ne'er-do-wells, the Han Solo perspective of like, bad person with a good heart.
Right.
The Robin Hood, steal from the rich, give to the poor.
Well, sure. And this works. This applies also to the Robin Hood thing. Like there is also this thing to be said for like the Disneyfication of
No, yeah, very much so.
This like really, really bad thing of really, really bad people doing really, really bad acts.
But long before
and you make this sort of like, oh my God, it's this whimsical.
Like long before that, right? Like you ever read Treasure Island, Robert Louis Stevenson?
Yeah.
Like the whole point of that story is this character Jim Hawkins is like infatuated with pirates
Right.
because it's like a really natural, instinctual kind of thing to be like the adventure and the romance of the sea, and you know, be like, oh, they're probably just out there living like their lives, you know, and then
he finds
the whole point. The reason
that
book was like subversive was like he finds out, oh shit, pirates fucking suck, bro.
People.
You know, because most of the stories you'd read at that time would be, you know, these like adventure stories.
Well, and you know I hate to use the most fucking harsh example I can think of, but like, what does that mean that in 200 years we're gonna have like a fucking Auschwitz kids ride in a theme park somewhere in Futureland?
It sucks, but yeah, there's a fucking damn fine chance that kind of shit will happen.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, just like,
there's gonna be kids dressing up as Nazis for fucking Halloween.
Well, like Dan Carlin says on his
God damn it, to go to school, not even to go trick or treating.
Yeah. I mean, that's not far off in any context, you know. But like, I mean, fucking, you never seen like grown adults wear like KKK uniforms for fucking Halloween and shit? Like, I've seen that. I've seen
photos of that.
I have literally seen people do that. And it's like,
I've never seen anything that fucking brazen.
The separation from shit like that is bizarre. But Dan Carlin in his Mongolian Empire series, he talks about when he was in college, he wrote a Genghis Khan. He wrote like a Genghis Khan, not apologist paper, but something that was very akin to like, you know, he's one of the great men of history and his, you know, movements shaped the future. And the teacher was like, yo, people died.
A lot.
He killed a lot of motherfucking people. Like, this is, I know it was like a couple thousand years ago, but like, this is bad. Like,
is it Khan that is like something like fucking what percentage of people can like are descended from him? Is it him or was it Attila the Hun?
It was Genghis.
It was
Attila the Hun was more of like a figureheady kind of character, and also quite a while after Genghis, because Genghis was a front lines fucking let's go kill the shit out of everybody and conquer and created that empire. And then Attila was like a maintaining of the empire, more of like a strategist.
Okay.
But in general, what that college professor was saying was like, I know it was a long time ago, but like you can't just idolize bad like this.
Yeah.
You know? So when we talk about pirates, like there's a human instinct, I think, to lean towards the ne'er-do-well, but historically pirates, a little too ne'er-do-well-y.
Well, so to one of the points that you made on this, and then we're going to jump back in, but to one of your points, there's another thing that just doesn't make sense in the context of what the, again, very limited history tells us about this person. We're not there yet, but we'll get to it shortly. So, like I said, Zheng Yi doesn't see a downside. He says, fuck it, let's go. Zheng Yi Sao, very good at convincing these guys, hey, if you just come into the fold, we've got a master plan, right? So through a series of, you know, sometimes battles and sometimes diplomacy, the pirates in the South China Sea slowly come underneath this singular banner, uniting as a pirate confederation and signing an actual agreement in July of 1805, where basically they agreed to relinquish some of their self-governance in exchange for this much larger United Pirate Confederation, right?
Pirate Confederation is my healthcare plan.
United Pirate Confederation.
The UPC, yeah. UPC, it's an HMO, but...
At least you're an HMO. At least you've got healthcare. So
I do have insurance. Did I tell you that I signed up for health insurance, and then literally like the day that I signed up for health insurance, I opened my phone and I see a video of the CEO of my new insurance company being shot in New York.
Oh. Is that a fact?
God, that is an absolute fact. It was 3 hours after I signed the paperwork for insurance. The first health insurance I've had in 20 years.
And then nobody felt bad for
And I was
him.
like, oh, fuck me. All right.
That's the worst part is like, God forbid if somebody murders me and nobody feels bad for me, I'm like, maybe I should have done stuff different.
Not to get overtly political, but if you get murdered in broad daylight in a major city and nobody rushes to your aid or cares that you died, you might want to have made different choices.
Yeah. Well, That's for his wife and children to deal with now.
Not my problem.
That was a harsh statement, and I'm fucking sorry to the wife and children of that guy.
I'm not.
They didn't make his business decisions. They benefited from them, but they didn't make them. And they may
Listen.
not have known what was it. They probably knew. Anyway.
Let's get off the topic. I'm not going to say that they should be executed as well. Let's just keep moving.
Okay. So, Jesus, you just implied that killed kids.
No, I said I'm not saying that.
I know, but I know what you mean when you say not.
And listen, just because we discussed the fact that radicalization of children is a massive factor in moving history,
no.
I'm not making any claims
And
like
so
this.
you got to go scorched earth.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm just, all I am is a simple podcaster trying to reflect the lessons of history.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to go kill his kids. We're gonna sign off now and go murder innocent children.
Well, that's been Delete Everything Podcast, guys. It's been a fun run.
Okay, back to it. Enough jokes, enough obvious jokes about child murder. So like I said, a lot of these guys are convinced, hey, we're gonna come under this banner.
Drew is looking at us right now like, are we deleting that, guys?
Hell no. We're gonna keep pushing the envelope until we
We'll talk about it later, buddy.
until we fall out of the envelope. Is that what did push? Where do we push the envelope till it falls off the desk?
I changed my mind. I do want you to go back to that old episode and take my last name off.
Okay. As I said, they agreed to relinquish some of their self-governance in exchange for this bigger confederation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Bigger, bolder, newer.
when they were all done, this confederation consisted of 6 separate fleets, identifiable by their color of flag. So there's the red fleet, the black fleet, the white fleet, blue fleet, yellow fleet, and purple fleet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zheng Yi was the commander of the red flag fleet, which consisted of 200 ships alone, just his fleet, right? These are, by the way, Chinese junks.
Mm-hmm.
So they're big Chinese ships with the one sail, sort of. If you
Yeah.
imagine like an old Chinese
Big singular sail.
Chinese ship, yeah.
Right, probably made with a lot of like bendier wood substances, bamboo, and things like that. Like
Mhm.
a lot of like ad hoc sort of like we're
Yeah.
making a boat. you
It's
know?
called a Chinese junk.
Yeah, the reason that they're called junks is because there's no like particular mold for these. You know, it's not like you'd get like a schooner, and you know what a schooner looks
Yeah.
like, right? Chinese junk is like it's a boat. That shit will sail and it'll do fine.
It's boating just fine. So yeah, like I said, these are Chinese junks. Zheng Yi has 200 of them just in his red flag fleet, right? Also, by the way, it's around this time that Zheng Yi and Zheng Yi Sao have 2 biological sons.
Ooh.
One in 1803. This pirate confederation happens in 1805, right? And then their second son is born in 1807. So 2 years before the pirate confederation, 2 years after. So 1807, big year for Zheng Yi.
Mm-hmm.
That is the year that he is swept off the deck of his ship during a typhoon and is never seen again.
God damn. Dude, God's really like against these Chinese pirates. In fact, we should have been able to track that from the beginning.
What?
That God isn't in favor of them?
Oh,
Because
what else happened?
God don't make no junk.
Oh my God. Turned into an old Jewish woman. there
Oh,
for a
sorry. I
second.
was just doing like, it was the Tuttle Bottoms ass voice that I just did. That really did it.
God don't make
God
no
don't
joke.
make no junk. Mama always said.
So legally speaking, Zhang Bao is his heir, right? As far as the Chinese government is concerned, they don't give a shit about Zheng Yisao. They don't give a shit about her little fucking contract with her deceased ass pirate husband.
Mm-hmm.
Zheng Bao technically takes control of the Red Fleet at that point. However, Zheng Yisao has a meeting with Zheng Bao and Zheng Shi's 2 sons. Remember, they are part of this big fleet, and they are 2 of her very recently deceased husband's generals. Like they're his two main guys.
Right.
Zheng Bao is kind of like his next to him guy. His two nephews are like the out there in the fleet guys.
His blood riders, yeah.
Right. And by the way, the two of Zheng Xi's sons, one of them is the adopted one is the biological one.
Mm-hmm.
There was another biological one, but I couldn't find any evidence of him being piratey.
It's hard out there on the seas.
Hey, he might have been too young by the time all this shit went down.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know when he was born or any of that shit. So, and then there's a fourth guy named Guo Podai, and he is,
Nothing.
Guo Podai?
Star Wars ass name. I'm sorry. No, I wasn't gonna say it. Just move on. Okay.
Okay. Fourth guy is named Guo Podai, and he is the commander of the second largest fleet in this confederation, the Black Flag Fleet, which just sounds piratey as fuck.
Is him, Henry Rollins.
Yeah. Guo Podai, by the way, captured at a young age by Zheng Yi and pressed into piracy.
Damn.
So I'm sensing that this was pretty fucking normal in late 18th century, early 19th century Chinese piracy, I guess.
Well, I wonder actually, like, the legitimate question, the concept of Shanghaiing sailors into like service. You think that comes from this sort of a thing? I can't confirm or deny that, but like it would make sense that if it was like part of like a Chinese culture to do that,
Maybe, baby.
being shanghaied into service on a ship.
Huh. I mean, yeah.
The British called it pressing, but then in like I think it was like in New York in America that would be like Shanghaiing people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could be. It could be where it came from. So they have this meeting with Zheng Yisao, right? And she is like, look, I'm in charge. You guys know that, right? Like, we're not having this discussion. We all know I'm in charge. And they're all like, yeah, no, fucking totally. No fucking complaints here, lady.
I said something inaccurate. I'm so sorry.
What'd you say?
The English word junk for the Chinese junk comes from Portuguese junco from Malay zhang. The word originally referred to the Javanese zhong ship. It's a very large trading ship that the Portuguese first encountered in Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's really, it's not like, it's just an ad hoc ship. I fucked that up. My bad. That's what I've always thought my whole life.
I got some, I don't know, some catalytic converters from my
Some
cousin
shit in there,
Larry.
I don't know.
And he's pulled off a a roof from a house. That's on there. And
I mean, like, also, there are plenty of ships around Southeast Asia that fucking...
the sails are new. I bought those cheap
there are plenty of ships
cotton bed sheets at Target.
You ever see
$8
like junks in popular culture, like referenced in media or film or whatever? They usually have a bunch of fucking nets and shit hanging off of them, and a bunch of stuff, and like some of them have little fucking like corrugated metal huts on their boat that they're fucking doing little like cooking fires in and shit. Like it kind of looks like shit. It's a cool aesthetic, but it doesn't seem to be the most polished thing. So in my head, I've always conflated that with the idea like, a junk,
okay,
like a junkyard.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like I said, Zheng Yisao gets everybody together. She's like, you guys know that like I'm taking this fucking operation over, right? Like nobody's here to argue with me. And everybody was like, go ahead, girl.
Get it, girl.
So
Put your records on.
And this isn't like speculation, by the way. This is one of the parts where we actually have government documents from an official at this time saying that Zhang Bao obeyed Zheng Yisao's orders and consulted her on all things before acting.
Hell yeah.
Right? This is her adopted son who's now taken over the Red Flag Fleet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Couple things we have to address about this pirate confederation. That's honestly, it's only 2 years old at this point. And a lot of things happen really fucking fast here. Because how do you keep this giant confederation consisting of 6 different fleets? At one point, I mean, it's like thousands and thousands of pirates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of ships, even more thousands of pirates. How do you keep all these guys in check, right? I mean, what, a fucking document that everybody signed? Like, that's not... like, and some of the commanders from that guy's ship are over here, and that's only going to keep you in check for so long. At the end of the day, we're fucking pirates, dude. You know what I mean? So you're there for treasure.
Yeah. No, booty.
You're doing it all for the booty.
God damn. I fucking hate that joke, actually. That's bad. It's on so many tourist bullshit t-shirts.
I know, it's so bad.
Surrender the booty. Go fuck yourself.
So I feel like if we're talking about groups of people that are probably pretty difficult to manage from different positions in a big ass body of water, pirates probably have to be fucking super high up that list.
It's probably
right?
pirates and then like mer people right after that.
Yeah. So the answer to the question, how to keep all these guys in check, is pirate codes. They had fucking rules. And those rules came with some pretty hardcore penalties.
Yeah.
These rules are all pretty much attributed to Zheng Yisao. At some point, everybody kind of argues that they were her, or at least most of them. There's some argument that the first three were probably Zheng Yi's rules with his own fleet, even prior to this pirate confederation.
The first two, you don't talk about pirate clubs.
Yeah, you don't talk about pirate confederation. Rule number 2.
You don't talk about pirate confederation.
So there's some debate about the first three. We do know for a fact that Zheng Yisao added to them after she took over, after Zheng Yi's death. But this is another one of those things where it's like, let's think honestly about these first three rules, because there's one of them in there that I'm just like, I don't see her not being the author of this motherfucker, because from everything that I read, everything that I researched, she is absolutely the brains behind this shit.
Right.
Right. And I mean, even if you just want to look at it sort of like without any of the facts at all, right? With just very minimal facts, right? 25-year-old girl gets courted by 35-year-old man who's been a pirate for a long time. Allegedly a savvy, business-minded woman. She might have been witty. I don't know.
I mean, like, I just want to say, within 10 years, both of those ranking pirates are dead, and she's in control of the whole fleet.
10 years, bro. Fucking like 5.
Yeah, like they both like, oh man, this pirate got swept off of the ship.
And in that time, he's gone from warring privateer with a handful of boats to hundreds, thousands of boats, thousands of people all flying under the same fucking banner.
And then just like, oh, mysteriously, there was a storm. This pirate who's been on a boat his whole goddamn life is like, whoopsie, and into the sea he goes.
What's the common denominator here? And it's this fucking woman that apparently was a very fucking savvy-minded person.
And like I obviously can't declare the history of that, but it seems
pretty like she was the
strong
brains.
orchestrated. Yeah,
he was already doing it. He already had the brawn. He already knew what to do. He already had a crew. He already had boats. Right. She didn't have any of those things, but what she did have was, I'm a smart motherfucker, and let me help you help me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But here are the 3 rules that, like I said, there's some debate about whether they should be attributed to Zheng Yisao or if they were just Zheng Yi's rules, right? Rule number 1. If any pirate goes privately on shore, he shall be taken, his ears mutilated, he will be paraded around the fleet and executed.
Damn, he just goes on shore by himself.
You don't leave the fucking boat unless you have permission to leave the fucking boat. Or you're going to mutilate your ears and then parade you around in front of everybody and then kill you. Like I said,
make a necklace out of the ears, probably. I'll bet you.
Pretty stiff penalties here, right? Rule number 2. Not the least thing shall be taken privately from the stolen and plundered goods. All shall be registered. The pirate receives for himself out of 10 parts, only 2. 8 parts belong to the storehouse, called the general fund. Those who steal anything out of this general fund shall be executed.
Yep, that's fair.
So whatever you plunder, you get 20% of. The other 80% goes in the storehouse. Again,
solid.
Steal anything out of the fucking general fund.
Very reasonable, mathly rules right there.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, one of these things just seems like maybe there was an author that we would have been thinking in these terms, right? Rule number 3. Women captured from villages shall not be harmed or harassed. All women captives shall be registered with their place of origin recorded and be given separate quarters. Those who rape or commit adultery with the women captives shall be executed.
Damn. She put the fucking execution on the rape pirates.
On the thing that pirates do.
They're like, like resounding, just, oh.
That's the whole reason I became a fucking pirate, man.
I gotta the fuck out of here, but I can't because the first rule. Shit.
Oh Lord! So, in terms of additional provisions that
one person's got a boat that's just called the Rapist. And he's just like, fuck! He's like furiously scrubbing
it's just he's like a rowboat. He's holding the oars, and then he hears that proclamation. He's like, fuck! And throws his oars into the water.
Rape's not fun, I guess.
No, it isn't. As far as the additional provisions that Zheng Yisao threw into the mix, right? And these are now there's an argument about whether they should be attributed to her or to Zhang Bao, right? Because he took over after Zhang Yi died. So
You think she was banging him?
As far as those provisions go, anyone caught giving commands on their own or disobeying a command from a superior is
Executed.
to be immediately decapitated.
Ain't nobody but one boss around this bitch.
Pilfering from common treasury or public fund and stealing from visitors who supplied the pirates
Executed.
were capital offenses, which were probably punishable by death. No pirate could retain any goods before inspection.
Execution.
Goods had to be registered and then distributed by the fleet leader. 20% of the booty was to be returned to the original captor, and the remainder were placed in a joint treasury or storehouse. Currency was to be handed over to the squadron leader. Part was turned over to the fleet, and some back over to the captor. There's a whole system. There's a whole hierarchy here where, like, okay, you steal some shit. That shit's got to go to the storehouse. They got to, like, somebody's got to, you have to turn that in, right? It's got to be registered and distributed back to the fucking fleet leader, who's got to be like, okay, this much is for us, this much is for you, because you're the original captor. Like, there's a whole fucking thing here.
Good
A whole
accountants.
system. Yeah.
You need somebody who's really good at math, probably.
There's
to be on this
there's
ship.
a whole Chinese people. So there's a whole
They probably had an abacus on board.
I'm gonna give it to Chinese people. They're good at math. Some stereotypes exist for a reason.
Don't do that.
A lot of Chinese people are great at math.
Don't do that.
No, don't tell them how great they are at
Don't say some stereotypes exist for a reason.
The
Don't do
good
that.
ones.
Don't say that.
Only the good ones.
Can't do that.
Yeah, just the good ones.
Nope.
White people sunburn easy.
Nope. That's bad. It's bad.
I'm going to keep going. The more you say it's bad, I'm going to keep going. Black people. I'm kidding.
Keep that one for the stinger at the end.
Black people. So after Zheng Yisao takes over, this pirate confederation kind of goes nuts. They are attacking basically anyone in the South China Sea that isn't part of their confederation, because there's always new startup pirates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all you need is a fucking
It's got to be poor and have
Boat.
a sword. You know?
a boat, like enough wood to make a boat.
Mhm.
So there's always new startup pirates in the mix. There are also salt pirates.
Salt pirates?
Salt pirates. So Guangdong has a lot of salt mining and exporting going on at this time.
Oh yeah. Salt's very, very valuable. Yeah.
And salt merchants are susceptible to attacks from salt pirates.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a topic right now where I talk about how salt is one of the more valuable like commodities because it's dry, it doesn't rot, and
Right.
you can use it as a currency.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So, like I said, they're pretty susceptible to attacks from salt pirates, because if you've got a lot of salt on a vessel, it's not going to fucking move very quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Zheng Yisao sees an opportunity in this and starts running protection for the salt merchants.
Nice.
She's
Nice.
like, I've got all these vessels. You pay me, I'll make sure you guys don't get raided.
Hell yeah. That's gangster shit.
Obviously, that went pretty well, because she eventually starts selling what's effectively a passport to salt merchants if they want to pass through her territory.
Mhm.
So now we don't even have to go anywhere. Once you cross this, you're in our territory. If you cross this, you better have this.
Mhm.
If you don't have this, pew pew, down to the bottom of the ocean. After we grab your salt.
After you salt, yeah. More like kick splash, rinse and repeat as you throw everyone
Right.
into the water and take the
And
boat
take the
and the
boat,
salt.
yeah. Exactly. So, and I mean, that slowly extends to anybody who wants to come into their area. They're just like, this is our fucking shit. Like, come for it if you want it. If you're trying to, Nuck if you buck, basically,
Yeah.
is what she's saying.
I was gonna say I was looking for like a I don't think you're ready for this jelly sort of thing, but I'm trying to like get the salt equivalent. Salt. This bitch be salty. I'm not getting it.
I don't see it either. So they also start fucking pretty heavily with the Chinese Navy, which at this time is pretty weak, pretty small. It's full of corrupt officials, so it's not like a big thing. It's not like a hard thing to fuck with them. So in September of 1808, they ambush a Navy brigade general and destroy his fleet of 35 ships. The following month, they defeat a Navy lieutenant colonel and destroy his fleet. Those two operations, with those two, they took out half of the provincial Navy's vessels.
God damn.
Boom, just two, and killed two of their fucking commanders. So a few months after that, in March of 1809, there's a provincial Navy commander with a fleet of about 100 vessels. And he is fucking with a small group of pirates. Unfortunately for him, they are part of Zhang Bao and Zheng Yisao's pirate confederacy. Oh, by the way, those two are married now.
Oh, so they were fucking.
They were fucking.
They were fucking the whole time, probably.
There is some additional debate about whether
Zhang Bao fucking tossed dude off the fucking boat.
Whether Zheng Yi was actually swept off the ship during a typhoon.
This is that classic Chinese subterfuge shit that I was talking about in every fucking movie. It's always this Shakespearean fucking power structure. You know, like it's always fucking, working your way to the top and then fucking picking him off on the bottom.
Or if she was already fucking him and they offed him. There's that is also a theory. And he's like 10 years younger than her.
Yeah, ye old fucking Lady Macbeth here.
Yeah. So she's got a big range, man.
I didn't think you were going to say range.
She's got a big lady dick. She's fucking all these pirates. So let's see. Yeah, so they come over to, like I said, this Navy commander with 100 of his ships, fucking with his small fleet. So Zhang Bao and Zheng Yisao come over to say hello with the red flag fleet and the white flag fleet. They use 10 of the red fleet ships to engage from the front. It's actually kind of, I don't know much about naval battle. This is a smart way to do it. 10 to engage from the front, while 2 of Zhang Bao's lieutenants in the red fleet flank the Navy's position on both sides. Then the white flag fleet closed off their escape from the rear, and they absolutely decimated the ship.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You put a few ships in the front, which direction are they going? If they blow past those, we've got them flanked with several ships on either side, and then we've got a whole nother fucking fleet of ships behind them, all for pursuit.
Yeah.
Smart. Never thought about naval.
Naval shit's weird because it's flat. It's all like a flat plane, Like if you think of like land battles, there's always like, physical barriers, rivers, or there's
trees, hills,
elevations, trees, exactly. Cover, different, like Sun Tzu goes over multiple different kinds of grounds. You got like rocky ground, retreat ground, inclined ground, shit like that. But like seafaring is always level plane. It's all down to equipment,
Yeah. And turn radius.
Yeah. Well, I figure like a small band of like tenacious soldiers can take out a greater, army in the right conditions on land.
Oh yeah, some of those big galleons took fucking forever to turn.
Yeah, I just feel like like Henry V, right? Like
you could just light them the fuck up if you just faster, smaller ship.
Henry V kind of fucking like cut through France with like a fucking scalpel and killed a shitload of people compared to like how many he lost.
Yeah.
Right? But that's just like land and stuff. But if you're on the ocean, and it's like, a small band of tenacious boats, they don't stand a fucking chance. Like, that's all power. It's all, like, you might be clever, you might be good at maneuvering, but, like, you're using the same fucking wind that the other guy's using,
and when you've got, so a bigger ship is going to be slower oftentimes, but you're also going to be outgunned, so it's one of those, like...
Nowhere to hide, nothing to cover.
No, absolutely nothing to hide. Did you ever watch Black Sails?
Yeah, I didn't care for it.
No?
No.
They did a really cool job of like really sort of cinematically showing what that moment of like, there's another ship on the horizon.
Yeah.
And our ship is either crippled or slow, or we don't have enough crew, or whatever the case may be. They did several sort of sea battles that I thought were done in a way that it's like, Damn, I never thought about that, but that's got to be fucking pretty much exactly how it goes. You know what I mean?
You ever see Master and Commander?
I don't think I ever watched the whole thing.
Dude, Master and Commander is one of my favorite movies.
I know it is. You bring it up every
absolutely
episode.
Fucking phenomenal. But like their seafaring like battleship is so their battle stuff is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use that GIF a lot
Which one?
of the guy walking down the thing. It might not even be from that movie.
Walking down the thing.
The like captain walking down the steps of like the galleon while everything's exploding around him.
No, that's from Pirates of the Caribbean
Is it
at
really?
World's End. Yeah.
Wow. By the way, the
Same movie.
By the way, the lady, the Chinese pirate in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the lady, whatever the hell her name is, inspired by Zheng Yisou.
Yeah, should have just been her. I mean, they could have just like fucking done some historical shit or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, why the fuck not? But back into this. So, like I said, they flanked 10 boats up front, half of the fucking half and half flanking, whole white flag fleet behind. They crushed this whole fucking this naval commander and all of his fucking boats. Just gone, done.
Mm-hmm.
See ya.
See ya.
A few months after that, in July, the Qing Provincial Navy finally got a win, using basically all that was left of their fleet to take out the White Flag Fleet, along with its commander, Ling Bao. But they lost another brigade general and 25 ships in the process. So now the Pirate Confederation has lost the White Flag Fleet. They've still got 5 others. And in the process of taking that fleet out, the provincial navy has basically like nothing left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Zheng Yisou is like absolutely undeterred. She's like, okay, well, now we have all the ships, so it's time to sail upriver and raid our many fucking dicks and singular vagina off all up and down this motherfucking coast. And that's exactly what they do. The month after the White Flag Fleet is wrecked, Zheng Yisou orders raids on multiple cities, towns, and villages, and they go the fuck off. I mean, these places burn.
Mm-hmm.
Guo Podai, remember him? Captain of the Black Flag Fleet?
Yep.
Spends 6 weeks raiding along the waterways, and just him and his crew alone kill 10,000 plus people.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Zheng Bao sacks a city and kills a couple thousand. Even Zheng Yisou is getting her hands dirty. She has her own personal fleet, and they are raiding up and down the coast. They end up capturing like 400 people. They, at one point, anchor like 500 ships off the fuck. I mean, it's just flexing at this point.
Yeah.
They got 500 ships anchored offshore.
So they're making themselves a major power in this area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
it's like that's more seafaring power than any like, provisional government's going to be able to raise.
And they basically spend all of August and September of that year wreaking havoc. By the end of October, the Qing Navy is like, hey, we've got boats again. We're ready to go take the fucking pirates out. Immediately, like within a couple of days, Zheng Bao is like, no, you're not. Wrecks all their shit again. Utterly fucking defeats them. Right? So this government...
It's like, why even bother,
Yeah, this government can't keep up. And so naturally, as these months have been going on and Qing government knows they've got absolutely no shot against these pirates, they start looking around at who they can ally with. And what do you know? We got those white pig dogs from Portugal hanging around.
Yep.
Trying to establish trade routes.
Yeah, maybe.
Air quotes. Establish trade routes. Steal resources. And
hey, stabilizing the region.
Weird how stable it was for millennia before we came along.
Well, I mean, hey, you do have some pirate action kicking.
Yeah.
And Portugal's just like, hey, we had pirates once. And
still currently.
We still do, but they, there are pirates now.
Yeah.
So we could use our pirates.
Sure, you say your region's stable, but our definition of stable where we come from is different.
I mean,
so we're going to stabilize you our way.
I don't think their region's particularly stable. Pirates just killed 10,000 plus people, like ranging along the coast.
Yeah, that is that's
pretty fucked. Like they're pirates still. So they're not raping as much anymore. But like,
I mean, there should be zero rape.
Yeah,
apparently,
theoretically, but they are also slaughtering people by the thousands. So.
All right, fine. You can't. You just everybody wants it every which way. What are you gonna do? So all this comes to a head and I have gone out of my way at this point to be professional.
Okay.
But the place this shit goes down in is Tung Chung Bay. And I know you're doing the stoic thing. I know you want to laugh because it's just. So the Portuguese are still looking for, what? What do you want to say?
What?
Okay. Tung Chung Bay. Yeah.
Stop.
I
just go for it. There's nothing funny about that.
Okay.
Just move on.
No. So the Portuguese are looking for a little payback, incidentally, since back in September, Zheng Bao captured a brig belonging to the mayor of Timor, which was a Portuguese colony in the South Pacific. They captured this big ass fucking Portuguese brig, and
Tung Chung Bay.
So the Portuguese were looking for a little payback since back in September that just passed. Zheng Bao captured a brig belonging to the mayor of Timor. Timor was a Portuguese colony in the South Pacific at the time, and they were passing through the South China Sea. Zheng Bao was like, get them, boys. Took this whole big-ass Portuguese brig, right? So the Portuguese are a little miffed about that. And dude,
there must have been such a fucking weird time, though. It's like, I got this big-ass boat.
I know,
like,
what do you do?
It's like, I got this big, badass boat, and they're just like, we're just sailing through some water, and then it's like, oh, shit. Hundreds of pirate ships descend on us. Like,
and then the pirate ships take the boat and they're just like, well, we got this big ass boat. And people are like,
what the fuck we gotta do with this
I don't even know
thing?
what to do with this boat. I've never seen them. I've never sailed a boat like this.
The fuck?
Why does it have 3 sails? The fuck is this?
It's tall as fuck.
There's 2 downstairs from here. There's a downstairs and then another downstairs. And one of those downstairs has cannons all the way down this motherfucker. It's crazy.
How do we do? I don't know. I killed them all. I don't know how I could have waited, I guess. But
was there an engineer or something? I don't know. Fucking.
I
guess we'll figure it out. Yeah, seriously.
Fucking weird French Spanish bullshit.
Fuck you. So in early November, the Portuguese have a couple of ships allegedly lurking around Tung Chung Bay. And so Zheng Bao and Zheng Yisao are looking around and trying to figure out ways to harass them and maybe score another ship or 2, right? They're like, Portuguese are hanging out. Let's go. Let's see what's blah, blah, blah. And by the way, this confederation isn't 400 ships anymore, like I've said before. It's 4 years ago, it was 400 ships when they wrote up all the paperwork for it. It's like, by some estimates at this point, it's like 1,800 ships.
That's a lot of ships.
So they are scanning the old Tung Chung, and they are not seeing any Portuguese vessels. So they decide to stop and anchor for repairs. On the 8th of November, so this is all happening like on the 5th of November, right? On the 8th of November, Portugal shows up with 6 big-ass ships. Would you like me to name the ships? They're all in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll name all the ships.
That was the name of a ship? Bop, diddy, bop, bop.
They show up on the 8th with the Inconquistavo.
Stupid name.
The Indiana.
It's pretty good.
The Belisario.
That's dumb.
The Conceição.
That sounds like a cheese dish.
The São Miguel.
Okay.
And the Princesa Carlota.
Ridiculous name. Not even words.
By the way, these 6 boats are under the command of artillery captain. And you guys think that like Central Americans with like Spanish have long ass fucking names. The Portuguese invented this shit, bro. The name of their artillery captain is José Pinto Acoforado de Azevedo e Souza. That's his name.
That's a name.
By the way, José Pinto being his second name, that is slang in Brazil for
weenie.
Dick.
Yeah.
So his name is Joseph Penis.
Joey Weenie.
Joseph. Hey, I'm Joey Dicks over here. I'm taking a bunch of boats. I'm gonna go kill some Chinese.
Yeah, watch your levels there. Joey 2 dicks.
I'm Joey 6 dicks. Each one of these ships has a fucking dick. I'm Joey 6 dicks. Except for that guy would say way worse terms for people from China. So,
But it'd be in Portuguese, so nobody would understand or care. I don't know why, but like my bigotry train stops at the language of Portuguese. I'm just like,
yeah, what a fucking guy. I guess
You
because
know what?
I'm here
Okay.
to defend it.
no. Here's what it. Yeah.
By the
that's-
way, I could ingest, or not even ingest, I could stuff a half a jar of peanut butter in my mouth and say it like I was speaking European Portuguese. I can't help it that my language is beautiful, and we improved European Portuguese
Listen,
tenfold.
I worked with like a Portuguese guy from Massachusetts a while
Portugal
ago.
Portuguese?
Yeah, Portugal.
Yeah, that's a hideous language.
And he was a cool dude. But like we were kind of partnered up working together for a few weeks. So I spent a lot of time with him. We like shared a hotel room, shared a fucking van and shit. And he was always like calling his ma back home and speaking fucking Portuguese in my ear. And it was the most frustrating thing in the world because I feel like I should have been able to understand most of it. Because I speak French and I understand Spanish.
Yeah, no, that's not how it works.
But it was fucking, and it just like the words just felt like they should have been there, and I got nothing out of it.
Yeah,
Nothing.
That is really
And
how it works.
I hated it.
It's it's a confusing language, man. I feel bad for anybody who didn't have to learn it as a child like I did.
Yeah.
It's like,
This is fucking
just learn it
frustrating.
when you're learning how to speak, and that's seems like the best way to learn that language because
all in a Boston accent.
that's yeah. Massachusetts has a lot of Portuguese.
Yeah, the coast is Cape Verdeans.
Yeah.
and-
Those are all the ships. That's the artillery general. And so, like I said, the Portuguese blockade our little pirate couple there in the Bay of Chunging Tongues on the 8th. I knew I'd get you eventually. I knew I'd get you, motherfucker.
If they lost in that bay, would that be considered a tongue lashing?
Well, I feel like you got to chung tongue before you can chung wang.
Everybody chung
You got to tongue
tonight.
chung before you can wang chung.
Everybody tongue tonight.
I mean, yeah.
You get your tongue and your wang, and you chung them both. It's a hell of a night. Okay, just please continue.
If you tongue chung, you're gonna get wang.
Your tongue in my wang, you're gonna get chunged.
You're gonna get wang chunged. If you tongue chung, you're gonna get your wang chunged.
Oh god damn it!
So
I'm wanging my chung so fucking hard right now. So that's I recently developed a new way of speaking to telemarketers that I'm really enjoying. You heard me do a little bit of it. I'll answer and they'll be like, "Hey, this is Mike from fucking American Healthcare Associates. How are you doing?" I'll say, "I'm doing good, Mike. I'm jacking my dick so fucking hard right now." What's great is if you say it deadpan like that, you get this moment, a real human moment between people, where that person thinks, "Did he just say he's jacking his dick?" and like the response that you get can be, it's great. Some of them you get like the real thick Indian accent. Sometimes it'll just be like, "Fuck you, motherfucker," and then I hang up. But then sometimes you get a guy who goes, "What?" And you just say it again. He's like, "I'm jacking my dick so fucking hard right now," and that person will usually hang up, but otherwise they'll be like, "I'm sorry, did you just say?" The longer you can keep it going, it's really the
is
key.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna do any of that because I just don't answer spam calls.
I mean, I got to do something.
If it shows up potential spam, I just send it to
Life
voicemail.
is boring, man. I got to do something. I drive a lot.
My life's not that boring. At any rate, the Portuguese are blockading these guys, right? Like I said, this starts on the 8th. On the 20th of November, the provincial fleet of 96 ships shows up to join the blockade. Now, this has already been going down for like 12 days. And what sucks is I couldn't find specifics on this blockade because I didn't look that hard.
Well, they're all getting ready to get together for Thanksgiving.
No. I don't. Is that what it is?
Universal.
Mm-hmm. No, it goes on for weeks. We know that there were several attempts to break the blockade by the pirates. Several attempts to break the blockade, but they weren't successful because of the wind direction.
That's what I said, man. Fucking even playing field. It's the same wind for everyone, yeah?
We also know that on November 23rd, the pirates captured one of the Chinese naval vessels, and they killed all the guys on board.
Yeah.
Like 70-something guys. So
Like
now,
you do.
Now it's how many provincial naval vessels, naval ships showed up? 96? And they got 95. And the pirates have an extra one. So there was a lot of battling back and forth, but I couldn't find specific casualties, right?
Uh-huh.
So the stalemate continues. Eventually, the commander of the Chinese fleet decides to convert 43 of his ships into fire ships,
Yeah.
right?
Crazy.
And set those adrift toward the pirates. So
If you don't know a fire
43
ship, it's exactly what it sounds
yeah,
like.
it's a ship that's on fire that you float toward another, and then it's going to catch their shit on fire.
Yeah.
So what we were at 95, we took 43, so we're left with 52, right? They got 52 ships. The pirates...
God, that's a desperate ass move too. That's a real fucking burn our shit to burn their shit.
Right,
Is like,
and on their turf. So what did they do? They diverted the fire ships, they towed them ashore, put out the fires, and then chopped the motherfuckers up for firewood. And by the way, by the time they were done with all the fire ships, the wind had changed. 2 of the fire ships were blown back to the provincial fleet and ignited 2 of their own ships on fire.
God damn.
Zhang Bao and Zheng Yisao took advantage of the wind, broke through the blockade, and escaped to the South China Sea.
Where they lived happily ever after?
No. This kept going against the Portuguese and eventually the English government. And I'm gonna wrap up real quick on this because we're ready to wrap up. So
that's enough. Michelle Trachtenberg died today. I'm fucking sad.
So this kept going for a while. Eventually, the English joined the fray to help the Chinese defend against Zheng Yisao and all these pirates, right? By the time like more of these battles go back and forth against these tougher naval powers, again, it's up for debate whether they saw this as the tides are turning. You know, now there are foreigners. Now there's all these things going on. You know what I mean? Like there are enough changes that maybe we just
the pirate is past.
Something along those lines, right? There was a battle in 1809 where sort of it wasn't looking good for Zheng Yisao, right? In terms of an actual battle.
Mm-hmm.
Guo Podai, the leader of the Black Flag fleet, refused to come reinforce.
No.
Yeah.
Damn.
That was
once you lose the faith, that's the backbone of the empire, man.
Yeah, that was in one of the battles there in Tongcheng Bay. Even afterward, he and him and Zhang Bao ended up having like battles on the ocean once they were out of Tongcheng Bay. There was like shit going down. Guo Podai ended up surrendering to the provincial government.
Fucking Jar Jar Binks ass traitor is fucking Guo Podai. I'm not defending these pirates. Pirates are bad.
Mm-hmm. Full stop.
Pirates are bad.
Okay. So this goes on,
which means Guo Podai can go fuck himself.
Well, Guo Podai can fuck himself. So this goes on into April of 2010. 2010, Jesus Christ.
Oh, hey, since space
1810.
Since space is under maritime law, that makes like the space pirates in Star Wars like actual pirates, like nautical pirates.
Yeah. If somehow
it would make Han Solo a pirate.
Yeah.
So,
a rebel pirate.
So when fucking Lando Calrissian is like, "How you doing, you old pirate?" He really means it.
Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, this shit keeps going.
You're like, fuck yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, probably. I mean, what am I supposed to say?
Not a big Star Wars guy, huh?
I'm as much a Star Wars guy as a guy who doesn't really give that much of a fuck anymore.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm as much a Star Wars guy as I am an any other fucking thing guy.
Hot Pockets, fucking
sure. Take them or leave them.
Okay.
Star Wars, take it or leave it.
All right.
Shitting in a toilet at this point, take it or leave it. You got a hole in the ground, I'll take it. Fucking, I'm just sick. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, Riley.
Dude, you're just preaching to the choir here, okay? All these constructs.
Okay, so like I was saying, because we're at the end here, this shit keeps going through the first few months of 1810, and finally, Zheng Yisao is like, we gotta make a fucking deal here, right? So she personally takes a delegation of women and children to the city of Guangzhou and negotiates and ends up getting her demands met. We're going to go over the demands here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A couple days later, formally, officially, Zheng Yisao and Zheng Bao surrender to the Guangdong provincial government with leftover after all this fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
17,318 pirates, 226 ships, 1,315 cannons, 2,798 assorted weapons.
God damn.
Zheng Yisao also surrenders her personal fleet of 24 ships and 1,433 pirates that are all under her command. Zheng Bao was awarded the rank of lieutenant and was allowed to retain a private fleet of 20 to 30 ships.
God damn.
Zheng Yisao was also given permission to officially marry, in the eyes of the government, Zheng Bao.
Ooh.
All of their crews were pardoned. The men all received like awards, like extra money, all kinds of. They didn't have to return any of the shit that they stole. Like I said, they've all got amnesty and what the fuck ever. Zheng Yisao ended up opening a fucking gambling house.
Oh, hell yeah.
So she said, she was like, you know what? Here's my CV. If I have to write out a resume, prostitution, piracy, fucking gambling den.
Think that she had any girls at the gambling den, like any brothel action?
You know,
I'm sure she could have been like, yeah, we got a girl back there.
Probably. I mean,
a seedy bitch.
So, by the way, Zheng Bao ended up having to go and defeat his own blue flag fleet.
Hell yeah.
That would not surrender. So it was
some real Rollo Normandy shit right there.
Yeah, man. It was pretty wild, dude.
Okay.
Pretty
as we're wrapping it up, I just want to make one point, okay?
By the way, Zheng Yisao ended up living until almost 70 years old.
Nice. Good for her, man. That's a feel good story. Usually our people die.
That's a life.
Usually the people we talk about die horribly.
I know, they do very frequently.
Like, yeah, she did very well for herself and then died comfortably after escaping poverty and prostitution.
Yeah, relatively peaceful life. Her and Zheng Bao ended up having 2 children.
Oh, good for them.
Both after, she was like pushing 40 when she had. Mm-hmm. Well, we know for
those
sure.
Those kids had the meanest bitch mom you ever met.
Or, I mean, she might have been fucking.
She's like, I am personally responsible for the deaths of thousands.
Yeah, but she also might have been like, I personally had to fucking babysit 17,000 pirates. You can't get one over on me. You can't get me fucking. You can't get my feathers ruffled. Just shut the fuck up and go to bed.
I just want to make one small point, okay?
Okay.
So if a planet in space has its own governing bodies, okay, but they aren't officially recognized by our Earth, mm-hmm. then that would still be an unclaimed planet technically, right?
Uh-huh.
So the planet Arda, which you know in the realm of Ea,
you are the worst,
right? So there's a little guy on the planet.
Is it
Arda.
Bilbo Labingi?
Hold on. So the little guy on the planet Arda that was hired by some guys to be a thief, right? Like a pickpocket.
Uh-huh.
And what's another word for theft?
Piracy.
So one of our little space pirates that we can talk about
is Bilbo Labingi.
Is a young man named Bilbo Labingi. Bilbo Labingi, space pirate. For those who haven't been following, Bilbo Labingi is the Hobbit name of Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings.
Fucking hell.
The planet Arda is where you find Middle Earth.
What do you think about this Zheng Yisao?
I mean, it's a cool story. Honestly,
it's tricky. It's tricky to know who to root for. Because,
it's tricky because we aren't personally versed in that culture, which I think this is more than just an interesting story. I think this is an interesting learning curve for us. Like if you're
doing a lot of internationals coming up.
Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast right now, you're listening to us learning in real time, not just about like the topic. I mean, Patrick did the research. I'm learning about the topic in real time, but it's also us learning.
It's new to me too. Just full disclosure.
It's also us learning how to navigate topics concerning cultures that we're not heavily familiar with.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll be old hands at a certain point, but like right at the moment, it's uncharted territory.
I mean, honestly, what we require to be old hands is people who are familiar with the culture being on the show, and that's the thing that's going to happen. I hope.
Do you know any Chinese pirates?
No, unfortunately, I do not. When I was in high school, my junior year, we had like a God, I want to say like 10 plus. I went to a very small private school.
We had 10 plus Chinese pirates at my school.
I went to a very small private school, and like my graduating class was like 70 something people.
Mm-hmm.
So between juniors and seniors, I want to say there were 10 to 12 Chinese exchange students. And one of my favorite guys, he played on the soccer team with me. Hilarious, awesome, just like cannot say enough good things about him. But his English name, because obviously they're taught like, oh, nobody's going to,
No.
we're talking about in the 90s here. So they're like, oh, nobody's going to learn your name. Here's your fucking English name, Frank.
Right.
And so this guy's name was Byron,
Mm.
was what he was, I guess, either given or chose, right? And we would always ask him, like, fucking locker room before, after soccer or whatever. We'd always like ask him about things in China, like what. I remember one day because there was a group of us that would always hang back and we'd have fucking beers and cigarettes and just absolute fucking degenerate high school kids.
Right.
And I remember one day Byron was there and we were like, oh, Byron. We were like trying to give him like fucking liquor or something.
Yeah.
And I'm smoking a cigarette, like, oh, what's up, Byron? What's up? And I just remember he over and over and over would be like, in his Chinese accent, like, no, it is forbidden. And it was like so poetic. Like, and it was just him speaking English the way that he learned, what the translation was. But it was so like, oh. And he like so many fucking things. We'd be like, Byron, do this. And he'd be like, no, it is forbidden. And it's just like, to this day, dude, I graduated high school the last time I saw that guy was in 1998. And to this fucking day, I still remember like, no, it is forbidden. So anywho, thank you guys. We appreciate you being here for this episode. And if you like the show, best way to tell us, get on podcast. You heard my whole spiel at the front. Get on whatever you're listening to. Give us ratings, give us reviews, leave comments. Fucking email us, man. We like those emails. They're really fucking fun to respond to. And if that's not enough for you, I'm telling you.
And I don't know what is. Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you, if you...
Working like a fucking dog over here. Not me, actually. I've just been sitting here.
If you want more and you just want to hear us be absolutely unhinged, patreon.com/DeleteEverythingPodcast. You will have a fucking blast. I guarantee you. I'll give you your fucking money back if you don't.
What?
I'll give you your money back.
No.
I'm offering a money back guarantee.
No.
I'm not contractually obligated to do anything I say.
Right, good.
Yeah. I will give you $1,000 million if you don't like it.
I will suck your dick or whatever genital situation you
or
got
the
going.
lesser of the two values.
Bye.
Bye. Bops.
She knows the ropes, she knows the semen.